Well, last night's announcement of the death of Osama Bin Laden has stirred the emotions of so many, especially those who lost loved ones on 9/11. And many have been gathering at Ground Zero, where it all happened almost 10 years ago. A few weeks after that tragedy, I visited Ground Zero at the invitation of a Canadian police chaplain who was volunteering there to help with the spiritual needs of the people. And as we look at some of the footage that we shot, we see what was called the mourners' platform. Although the people were not allowed access to Ground Zero, the Port Authority police erected a wooden platform off to the side where grieving family members would come to overlook what really had become the burial ground of their loved one. And there you'd see that they would write messages to their loved ones that had gone on the railings of those platforms. There's a Canadian police chaplain, Bruce Morrison, who was down there helping and helped us to get access there to do some interviews and so on. But he would speak to the people who would come along the platform and be grieving, and he would pray with them. And there I wrote a message to people that saying from Canada, we are praying for you, to those who lost loved ones. But people had all kinds of messages there, from it's just not fair to God is in control, which also showed a little spark of faith by someone there. And so it was really something for me to be there, to witness that. And at that time I also interviewed a number of police officers and firefighters. And here's one memorable moment with a firefighter named Kathy McIntosh. Now, on that day there was some 300 firefighters that lost their lives from your New York Fire Department.
Yes.
And I know that has had a devastating effect on individuals, not to mention the families, but on yourself as well. And
definitely, I knew that I had friends who I have friends who worked for the fire department long before I joined EMS.
yes.
And I also have EMTs who were also killed in here, and knew them personally. My first partner ever in EMS was killed here, paramedic Ricardo Quinn. My local firehouse on ladder 9, engine 33, they lost 10 firefighters. I knew 4 of them very well. It's a family, you know, it's a big family, and it's horrendous. I knew the ESU police officers that were killed, as when we have calls for emotionally disturbed people, or barricaded EDPs as we call them, or they would respond to do whatever they had to do to stop the person from jumping off the roof, or get the barricade away so they can get the people inside out it safely.
Now, this would have had an effect personally on you, and you were telling me before we started rolling the cameras that you've made a decision to have a bit of a change of direction in your life. Share that with me.
Oh, yes, I have. My father's a minister, my grandfather, great-grandfather, Presbyterian ministers, and I had thought about becoming a minister throughout my life, and I just kind of, life got in the way and I put it off, and I went to some college, and then I stopped going, then I went back, and now I've decided to go back to school and get a degree, and don't get sociology or psychology and theology as a minor, and go to a seminary and become a minister, and hopefully be in the future a chaplain for disasters, or
yes.
chaplain for fire, PD, EMS,
Yes.
and still maybe even maintain the emergency medical technician certification.
Yes.
Some people work and they're chaplains outside of here.
Yes.
This is also part of their ministry, is
Yes.
helping sick and injured people.
So I'm sure you've seen the value of having chaplains minister to the emotional and spiritual needs of people, workers, alongside of you as well as yourself. And so you are making that move. Our prayers are with you. May God guide you in your future, and our prayers are with the New York Fire Department as you continue the recovery efforts here. God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Well, it was obviously a very emotional time at that time, as now, as I mentioned, the emotions are stirred once again as the news of the death of Osama Bin Laden is causing more people to remember. And so we need to be praying for those. We had some response on our website, on Facebook, people saying things like, do not envy a man of violence and do not choose any of his evil ways, from Proverbs 3:31. Someone named Duncan said, pray for all nations. It doesn't get any better. We don't know what's next. Be on guard. And someone else has said, exactly, pray for all nations. It's closure. Maybe reflect for those who've lost loved ones and then move on. God is in control. So let's do pray, and we'll remember to do that. Remember, our prayer lines are always available for you too. God bless.
Now there are even more ways to join the 100 Huntley Street online community. We'd love to hear from you, so stay in touch with us.